We're here in Santa Monica, California for the Domain Fest Global Conference, and had an opportunity to hook up with my old friend Joe Alagna here from CentralNic. And Joe, though I've known you for many, many years, I don't think we've ever had an opportunity really to sit down and talk about the nuts and bolts of CentralNic. And I know there are a lot of misconceptions out there about the domain names offered and this sort of thing. So I thought it might be kind of fun to sit down and just run through the history of how CentralNic's products came about, exactly what you offer, and so on. So why don't you start by telling us about the domains that CentralNic offers?
Okay, well, we have an unusual set of domains, and we've been very fortunate to acquire them. We own actually 23 two-letter country-specific domain names. And amongst them, there are names like US.com, UK.com, EU.com, RU.com, CN.com. I can go on. There's 23 of them.
Right.
But the idea is they're very short, and they're region and country specific.
Now those names are so valuable. People think of a US.com or a UK.com, and I know that some people don't think that you actually own those domains, that you lease them from someone or have some sort of arrangement like that. Does CentralNic actually own all of those domain names?
We actually do, and we were very fortunate because the way we put these together is that we started doing it in 1995. CentralNic is actually the second oldest registry in the world. We were doing business selling our subdomains before Nominet started selling the co.uk. We started in 95. They actually opened their doors just a few months after us. And so at that time, two-letter domain names really weren't recognized as the value that they are, and we were able to put them together. And we basically started our business with the core idea of offering an alternative to .com in the market.
I do see them occasionally. We moved to a new home a couple of years ago, and a Russell sandwich shop opened up near us. And everywhere I go, because I look at domain names that are being used, and they happen to use a .us.com at that sandwich shop. Among end users, are they actually using a lot of these subdomains that CentralNic offers?
End users actually love our domains. I go in once a year, and I pull out 100 random US.com domains that are registered, and we often find that end users will leave many other domains unregistered and choose ours. And I think the reason is because they like the .com ending, and US.com doesn't really seem like a compromise to them. It actually seems very useful and natural. It's very intuitive. They relate to being U.S. citizens, and they certainly know what .com means. So end users love them.
CentralNic fills the role of a traditional registry in this process, and so you have registrars who offer those to their customers. So I assume that registrars set the cost, or is there a general ballpark figure that people could expect to pay for CentralNic domains?
Yeah, generally they cost a little bit more than the mainstream domains, but some of the best registrars and the smartest registrars in the world actually offer our domain names, including Network Solutions, Docster, Enom, Name.com, Register.com, and I can go on and on. And these are registrars that recognize that end users are being disappointed every day when they're searching for domain. As an industry, we're like a restaurant that has a full menu and no food. We say, you can get this. I'm sorry, we don't have it. You can get that. We do that as a matter of our normal course of business. And so some of the really smart registrars are using CentralNic domains to be able to say yes to their customers a lot more often.
One thing I've found, I buy and sell a lot of domain names. I never really have customers ask me if there's traffic on a domain name. They to them, it's a concept. They don't understand that there could be traffic before you even build something on a domain name.
Yeah.
With respect to the subdomains that CentralNic sells, is there existing traffic on any of those? What do you call them, traffic domains?
No, I would not categorize them as traffic domains. We do get some residual traffic from people who may have registered domains and then dropped them. So there are inbound links to those.
Right.
They're very good for the guy that has a small business and wants to put his business online. And the vast majority of our customers are those kinds of companies. They're small businesses, restaurants, whatever, that can't get the .com they want, but they really like the sound of US.com.
Right. As you know, at dnjournal, we do a domain sales report every week. Basically, that's a sampling of what's going on in the market. We don't get, by any means, all the sales that happen, probably only a fraction of them. So essentially, it just serves as a sampling of what's going on in the aftermarket. How would you characterize the aftermarket value or the sales worth reporting in CentralNic space?
Well, the company that's actually been most successful in selling our domains in the aftermarket is Cedo. And if you do some queries at, I think I've seen it at DN sale price.
Right.
You type in .us.com, you'll see that the domains have sold in the aftermarket for as much as $300-400 to as much as $3,000 or $4,000 and more. I mean, there are not any big premier sales to speak of, but and we by design try not to hype them. But I will tell you that more and more people are accepting them. More and more people are buying them and valuing them for more than registration costs, and we hope it's going to continue.
And for beginners, sometimes they'll look at something they're not familiar with and think they'll say maybe a newbie question, does that work like a .com or my country code or whatever, in terms of how they resolve? Are there any issues like that?
There is no issue at all. As a matter of fact, the answer simply is yes, they do. If you look at the world scenario, you've got country codes all around the world that actually register as a normal course of business at the third level. For instance, in the United Kingdom, it's co.uk, so it's whatever.co.uk. In Argentina, it's .com.ar. In Brazil, it's .com.br. So this is a protocol that has been in place since John Postel basically created the domain name system, and it's in the original RFPs. It's the way the DNS system works, and we follow right along. So yes, email works, hosting works, there's no difference. If any hosting company told you that they don't, that hosting company needs to do some homework, because they absolutely do.
Right. Well, there are, over the years, I've seen some individual companies who have domain names as a promotional tool. They might give away subdomains on domains that they own. Right. Does that devalue CentralNic ones, or why are yours of value when others may give subdomains away as a promotion?
That's a good question, and the answer is we don't give away our domains.
Right.
Our philosophy is that any company that gives away a domain, whether it be a top or second level, is creating a space where they're going to be inviting spam. And so from the very beginning, we decided that we did not want to devalue our domain space. We wanted it to be, a place where people can feel comfortable, and so we've never given them away.
Right.
So you may see a lot of companies that don't value their second or third level domains. We definitely do, and we've always charged something for them. We just don't do that.
I think you mentioned a few of the registrars earlier where they can be found, Enum and others. I know I've seen them even at some smaller registrars.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you give people a broader overview if they're interested in seeing what's available. Where else can they look?
Well, in fact, you can probably buy them at most of the top 10 registrars. Not all. But as I said earlier, the smartest registrars in the world are offering it. And that includes Register.com, Network Solutions, Doster, I don't want to miss any, Enum and all their resellers. There is Name.com. In Australia, we have Planet Domains. In the United Kingdom, we have GX Networks, which is huge. So almost any reasonably sized registrar offers that.
Now, how does the CentralNic setup play into ICANN's regulations of the registry space? So, in other words, a lot of the extensions people are familiar with where, ICANN set those up. So what's your relationship there?
Right. Well, what we do is very much like issuing an email address. So think of AOL as an example. AOL.com exists. They have issued several million email addresses. There's no issue, there's no problem with that. They work well. People are using AOL.com as their email address all over the world. Millions of them. In essence, when you buy a domain name, you have the right to issue email addresses, and you also have the right to issue and use subdomains.
Right.
So what we do is we have hundreds of thousands of people who use our subdomains in the same way that AOL allows hundreds of millions of people to use their email addresses. Right. So regarding ICANN, it's completely normal, it's completely accepted. ICANN is fine with us. We attend all the ICANN meetings. We work with all the we meet with registrars regularly, and we also, by the way, if I may add this, work with the World Intellectual Property Organization so that we don't do anything that goes out of bounds as related to intellectual property. So if you go to wico.int, you'll actually see that CentralNic is cooperating with all of the intellectual property attorneys, and we have a procedure, a central dispute resolution process that's on their page, and that allows the trademark interest to do what they need to do as well.
Joe, it's very interesting. Thank you so much for the information. Really appreciate it.
It is my pleasure.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank
Ron.
you.